Hey friends, in today's video we're going to be focusing on the troubleshooting mindset behind a service call. Now I once heard someone say that all you need is 4 tools to figure out any service call for any unit. They say you need gauges, your meter, wire strippers, and an 11-in-1 screwdriver. Now I'm also using a temperature clamp because you don't necessarily need digital gauges. We're just using regular analog gauges, but I am using the temperature clamp to read superheat and subcool. But really, all you need is just these 4 tools along with knowledge. And so a lot of the times I see that when someone's starting out in the field, they like to approach the problem and kind of just go everywhere. And, a lot of the times by just smelling, by just seeing, by just hearing, by using your senses, you can find out what's going on. Another thing you can do is asking the customer, when did it stop working? Oh, a day ago. Okay, it could possibly be an electrical issue. But if they say it stopped working last year and I haven't turned it on, it can be more of a major repair. So just the senses, asking questions to the customer, trying to find out. And besides that, too, of course, the troubleshooting mindset. So you're going to see the steps that I'm going to take to show you what to do when you're on your next service call. All right, so before I show you guys how to troubleshoot a system, at least the troubleshooting mindset behind a service call, um, as a witness, I do have the person who broke down the unit because many of you might think, hey, Armando broke down the unit, and of course he knows what the issue is because he broke it down for us. But I do have one of our students who graduated, Renee. Let's just be honest. I didn't pay you off, right? I didn't pay you off. So did you break down the unit? And am I aware of the issue going on with this specific unit?
Nope, no idea. Just broke it down about 10 minutes ago. Good luck.
All right, thank you. So let's get to it. All right, so this is the unit. Uh, I guess at this point we can visualize that it's an actual service call, maybe service call for a building or a one-story home. You knock, hey, Mrs. Applebottom, do you want me to wear the booties, shoe covers? Oh, you don't have to. You come in. And be interested in people too. I know we have to fix the issue, but like for example, Mrs. Applebottom, she's 80 years old. She's got pictures of her grandkids in the refrigerator on the wall. Make small talk. We don't have to just go straight to the unit. It only takes a couple of seconds, and then start asking questions. Obviously, this is a package unit, so we would be, I guess, focusing more on the thermostat at their house. This would be up on the roof, or if it's a split system, it could be on the side of the house. But now that we've, made our, we've talked, and now we're in front of the unit, the approach is, at least for myself, everyone's going to have a different approach, is start off with the low voltage, start off with the thermostat. So in this case, let's see, we do have the disconnect pulled out. I don't know if he pulled it out for a reason. I am going to go ahead and put that back. I don't necessarily have to open this up and check if there's power. If the breaker is tripped and nothing turns on, then you got to find out why it tripped. Grounded compressor, something that's pulling a lot of amps. But let's just say this is plugged in when you get to the job. And sure enough, I have power, right? So, at this point, this is where you, at least for myself, where I would start off with the low voltage with the thermostat. So if it has power, right, it's on, I should be getting 24 volts between common and my red. So we know that we do because it turned on. Now let's see if it has batteries. Okay, so no batteries, right? But you know what? Let's just show you that we do have power in the back. I'm just gonna show you how it is right here. So let's do this. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and put it on volts. So this is the first thing that you would do. Check the thermostat, right? I check the thermostat first. This is after asking questions, finding out what's going on with Mrs. Applebottom. But we're gonna have 24 volts going to that because our thermostat was on. And I said earlier, I don't know what the issue is, but I'm gonna check now. Let's go ahead and check. I'm gonna check my leads. I'm gonna put it on VAC. I'm gonna check common. and my R. And sure enough, I think the light, without the light, you see right there, 26, 24 volts. So I have power coming to the back of my plate. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put this back. Okay, so the issue is it's a cooling issue, right? Cooling. So I'm gonna go ahead and call for cooling. So fan is an auto. Let's put it on cooling. Okay, and obviously we want, this is my ambient temperature, okay? So we want a call for cooling. Obviously, this has to be lower than the ambient temperature because we're gonna drop the temperature in the house. So let's put it at 75. So it's a little bit warm in the house, right? 81 degrees. Mrs. Applebottom, she wants a little bit more colder, right? A little bit more cooler. So obviously we've been called because there's an issue, right? There's no cold air coming out. I did notice that I am getting air coming out. So my blower motor did turn on, and which makes sense. Typically, the blower motor turns on, and you have about a 5-minute delay before the compressor turns on. So what I'm gonna do, I am gonna go ahead and open this up right here. Let's see what he did to the unit. Like I said, I have no idea. And I'm also gonna check pressures and superheat and subcool. I think they were doing something with the unit earlier, with refrigerant wise, airflow wise. I have no idea. So we can check it right now by checking superheat, subcool, and our pressures. And we're gonna go ahead and write some stuff there too. So first things first, there is a 5-minute delay, right? We did say there's a 5-minute delay. So if you see back there, you might not be able to see. Let's see, right. Okay. You might not be able to see it. You see that harness plug? Right underneath that, there's 2 little pins. Right there. You see the 2 little pins? That's called speed up. So, if you want to bypass the 5-minute delay, just get a little part like this, right? And short them to each other. And that should turn it on. So I'm going to go ahead and see what happens when I do that to see if it turns on. Okay. So I did hear the reversing valve click, but my compressor didn't turn on. I can't hear it. So I am going to connect my gauges right now. All right. So this is where I would confirm, just because your thermostat is calling for cooling, right? It doesn't mean that, it could mean that something else is going on. And what I mean by that is that my thermostat wires come right here. There could be an issue going on with the thermostat wires, or my thermostat head might be bad. So a lot of the times what I like to do, put it on VAC, okay? Put that there, VAC. And I just confirm with the wires that are wire nutted to the unit if I have 24 volts coming in here, because your thermostat could be bad. But I think it's good because I heard something click. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right there on yellow. And on my common, what are they using for common? Brown. So I'm going to put in my yellow and common. Okay, just bear with me here. Let me open this up here. Okay, you see? So my thermostat is calling for cooling, and this is a heat pump. So I want to make sure I have, between common and my reversing valve, I want to make sure I have 24 volts too, because it's a heat pump, and we are. So the thermostat, it's doing its job. I'm sending 24 volts to Y, my compressor, and for the reversing valve. So now I know that my issue is not my thermostat, because the thermostat, it's doing its job. So something's happening where my 24 volts is not making it back to my contactor coil. Interesting. What did he do? Interesting. So, I mean, let's see. I think at this point, what I'm gonna do, and this is where you can get a little bit kind of go everywhere. I know that the path that the 24 volts takes, it goes from my unit, my 24 volts, it goes to my thermostat, it makes a jump to Y. Once I have a call for cooling, it goes, and it goes through my pressure switches, and then it comes back to my contactor coil. So I could simply just check if I have continuity going to my pressure switches, but I mean, I don't think I want to do that now, because I'm trying to see what he did. I told him to go easy on me, but I guess not. So I could open this up, and I was gonna open this up because I'm gonna get my pressures, right? I'm gonna go ahead and get pressures. So let's go ahead and open that up right now. Okay. All right. So let me see. I have a feeling what he did, but I want to show you how I would confirm it. So we know that 24 volts comes through the pressure switches, right? It goes in, out, and it makes it all the way back over here. So I guess with him, I think I'm just going to confirm this. Let's just go ahead and do this. What I'm going to confirm, an easy way to make sure your pressure switches are closed, you can just disconnect these right here. Okay. Put it on continuity. So let's go ahead and put that on continuity. Okay. Okay, just check it. You see that? Continuity. So I'm going to go ahead and check if the path going to my pressure switches, it should be closed. Oh, it is. So my pressure switches are good because look, I'm getting 24 volts. Sorry, I'm getting a path. So it's good. So there's nothing going on. My 24 volts is making it back over here. And you're going to see how I confirm it right now. I thought he was going to... man, sometimes they like to get me. I thought he was going to put the wire, like just the insulation touching each other, not the copper. And I do that with them all the time. So I wouldn't blame them if they do that back to me. But another thing you can do, remember I've said, compare common to a leg to see if you have 24 volts. So I know that I got 24 volts because you see with these right here, one of them is 24 volts and then it comes back. And I think it's going to be that blue one. So I'm going to check just the chassis and one wire here. Okay, so this is the one that's sending 24 volts from the board. You see? 24 volts. So that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and reconnect the blue one over here. Okay. And then this one here. Okay. So we are sending 24 volts. It is going and then it is coming back. And I confirmed it by checking continuity, but then you can just check this too. Put one here and put on one on common. You see, I'm getting 24 volts. So 24 volts is coming back. The problem is that right here, my contactor coil, when checking it, I'm getting 0 volts. So let me see what he did. Okay. I think I figured it out. So this brown one here is my common. My brown goes to all my commons. They're already all there. My blue one, this is a problem. I'm not getting 24 volts here. When I follow this, let me see if I can show you real quick. When I follow that, and just to kind of show you guys again the test, the speed up. Let's see if I can show you a good picture of that. Right there, it's not the best picture, but right underneath there, you got 2 little pins. But look what he did. Funny. So sometimes when we're rushing or something's, we're rushing or we're not being careful. Look at that right there, right underneath. Unless I'm blind and I'm not seeing it. Let me see. Oh. Let's see. So I think that a harness plug is not plugged correctly. You see right there? I think that is... Okay, so let's see if I can... You see right there? I think he plugged it in one above, so it's not getting the pin on the bottom. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. You'll see what I mean. You see? I think it looked like he skipped the bottom one. So this blue wire is the one that's sending 24 volts. So let's find out if I plug it in correctly now because it was not plugged in. Let's find out. Give me a second here. Oh no. Look at that. It didn't turn on yet. And it looked like it was coming out from there. And I am so blind I can't even see. It looks like, let's see. It looks like it's correct now, right? But I'm still not getting 24 volts coming out. Interesting. Oh man. He really let me have it. Doing revenge after many months. So obviously there's nothing wrong with the wire, so, but I think the problem's gonna be down here. So let's see. So what I could do too, if you look at the right there, T2, let me see without putting my finger there so you guys can see. You see right there it says T2? That's the T2, that's the 24 volts going to my contactor coil. So I could check if 24 volts is coming out from that pin, and oh, it turned on. Okay, so I see what he did. Once I connected it correctly, it had a little delay, and then it turned on. So that was the issue. Okay, that's interesting. So he did disconnect that right there on top. He plugged it in. He plugged it in incorrectly, of course, on purpose. I know he did that on purpose. He plugged it in incorrectly. Let's see if you get a good picture of that. Let's see. It's probably not better, but you see right there on top it says T2, but it was unplugged incorrectly, and now it's working. Now I'm getting 24 volts. Interesting. So that could happen because when people are, you're trying to, put everything back, and then they call you back saying, hey, it's not working. All it was is that little Modex plug was put on the wrong place, and that has happened so many times. I've gotten a couple callbacks like that, but 24 volts, you see I'm getting 24 volts and it's on. Good. Okay, so that was the issue. Thermostat was good, the wire was good, the 24 volts going that way, it was just right there. There was a little delay because I did unplug it, kind of reset the delay a little bit, but once I connected it back, and then it turned on, compressor turned on. So the Molex connector was plugged incorrectly. Now I am gonna check pressures. I do have these low loss. You definitely want to use low loss fittings. It's 410A. 410A is higher pressure, so I'm gonna go ahead and connect that there. Okay, and connect the low side. And technically, you do want to wait. You do want to wait 5 to 10 minutes. Not you don't have to wait forever, but you do want to wait a little bit. So, and let's see what's going on right here. Oh my goodness, what's going on? Sorry guys, rookie mistake. I'm gonna pretend you guys didn't see that. I'm looking at my gauges. I'm like, what is going on? The red ones, of course, the red one is the high side, goes to my discharge line. That's okay, that happens. As long as you recognize that it happened, then you'd be there for some time trying to find out why your low side pressure is high and your high side pressure is low. But the red hose goes to your high side, my blue one goes to your suction line, right? Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get our pressures. This is a 410A. So right now, I'm almost close to 300 PSI. 300 PSI. Let's go ahead and show you that, right? 300 PSI. And that one's close to, man, it's a 90 PSI. So I don't know if it has a refrigerant issue. Right now, we're going to get all of our numbers. And you'll be able to determine what's going on by looking at numbers. Wait 10 minutes. Check airflow. Check that your filter is clean. You have good return air and supply air. But I'm going to show you And this is, of course, with time, by just getting superheat and subcool, you'll know what's going on with the whole system without even checking airflow. Now, I'm not saying don't check airflow. When you're starting off, check airflow first, okay? Then check your pressures. But I'm going to show you by just looking at superheat, subcool, and my pressures if we have an airflow issue. So let's go ahead and get numbers. So I know I should have waited a little bit more, but I don't want to keep you guys waiting too much. And honestly, I'll be able to find out if we have an issue or not by looking at the numbers. And I'll explain them right now too. I don't know if it has an issue or not, but for my high side, I'll put high, it's 300 PSI. For my low, it's 90 PSI. Right away, remember, this is a 410A system. Right away, that tells me something. Okay, now I am going to get, I'm going to convert them to temperature. So 300, it's about 93 degrees. So let's see if I can put this here. This is 93 degrees. Condensing temperature. My evaporator temperature, I'm at 90. So I'm at, oh, whoa, that's 25, around 25 degrees. That's what I'm looking at over there. 25, 24. Right away, I'm like, oh, it's below 32 degrees. So I might end up with the freezing coil or whatever, right? There's an issue because it's below 32. Now, remember what I said. You don't need gauges, digital gauges at least. You can just use one of these here. Temperature clamp, and as long as it has a connection to connect your temperature clamps, go ahead and connect it. I'm gonna go ahead and get my suction line temperature first, okay? Suction line temperature first. So, and then go ahead and put it on Fahrenheit. So right now, I'm at, let's see, 28 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it over here on the liquid line. We're going to let it change right now. So 28 degrees. So my suction line temperature, temp, is 28 degrees. Remember superheat? Suction line temperature minus evaporator temperature. So 28 minus 25. I have 3 degrees of superheat. Okay. So then my subcool. Okay, it's climbing up to 83. Let me see, 84, and it's kind of stopping there somewhat. I want to give it a couple seconds. 85. It stopped at 85. Let's see, 85.4, and it's gonna be changing a bit, but it did. Okay, there we go. 85. So it's 86. 86. So liquid line temperature, right? Liquid line temperature is 86. So remember your subcool. It's condensing temperature minus your liquid line temp. So 93 minus 86 is 7 degrees of subcool. Okay, right away, I know we have an airflow issue because you might think, well, it's properly charged because I do have some subcool number. I do have 7 degrees, so I don't have some liquid. But right away, I know we have an issue because of this. My evaporator temperature is really low, and my superheat is low. So remember, when the evaporator temperature, if the suction line temperature was the same as the evaporator temperature, then you would have liquid going to your compressor. It's still saturated. So we are boiling off some refrigerant because we have a 3-degree superheat. But I'm scared about this number here. It's below 32. So for me, right away, I'm saying it's the fan speed is too low. What is it? What else? It's overcharged, right? And it could trick you into thinking it's overcharged. By the way, and don't let it trick you, because you can be like, oh, it's low. It's low. There's too much liquid refrigerant. But the key is, if it was overcharged, your suction pressure would be really high, but it's low. So we got a low evaporator temperature, low superheat. So it's low. Going back to the airflow issues, low airflow, like fan speed. Air restriction, dirty filter, closed supply vents, closed return or kinked return ducts. So it's got to be an airflow issue just because of seeing this number. So don't let it trick you. You can be like, oh, it's good. I'm good. It's properly charged, 7 degrees subcool. But my evaporator temperature, that's got to be at least 40 degrees around there, right? Based on the heat load. So now I'm going to be looking for an airflow issue. So let's look for an airflow issue. So that's why you always check filters first, right? So I don't know if there's an airflow issue or not. It looks clean. Okay. And we're not economizing right now. I don't know what they were doing, but oh my gosh, that's funny. So look at what they did. And I was not aware of this. I know that they were creating airflow issues, but I didn't know that was there. And I want you to see what's gonna happen when I do remove this. I want you to see it. I want you to look at the evaporator temperature and the superheater. You're gonna see how everything changes. So let me go ahead and move this. Okay. I mean, now I can feel way more airflow coming out. So now look at the numbers change, okay? So wherever you're at, because I'm going to have to erase this, wherever you're at, try to just memorize these numbers. You can write them down somewhere, but my evaporator temperature with low airflow was at 25 degrees. It's at 25 degrees evaporator temperature with low airflow, and my superheat was 3. So what I can do, actually, let's do this. I am going to go ahead and erase this so I can make room for the new numbers, because now you got to recalculate everything. That's why you always check airflow first. So what was it? 93 minus 86, 7, and then 28 minus 25, 3. So subcool and then superheat. Okay. So this one was my condensing temperature. That is my evaporator temperature, right? So those were the numbers. Okay, so now let's recalculate everything. So this is after airflow is fixed. So this was before, this is after. I want you to pay attention to the evaporator temperature and my superheat. And you're gonna other stuff is gonna change, but let's go ahead and check our liquid line temperature. And that the subcool is not gonna change too much. 86, it's 86. So my liquid line temperature, right? 86 minus. Let's check our condensing temperature. 94. 94. So maybe a little bit. So I have an 8 degree of subcool. Okay. Superheat. This is going to be what I want you to pay attention to. So we're going to let that drop right now. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and go over here. Okay. Let's just give it a second. So right now, let's see if you can see. 100, between 100 and 105 psi. And when you look at the actual evaporator temperature, let's see if I could zoom in. You see 34, maybe 35. 34, close to 35. So 34 degree evaporator temperature, right? Superheat is suction line minus evaporator temperature. And then it's still dropping a little bit. Put it right there on this one. One little pro tip here. Try always to and I guess it depends. If you're using digital gauges, you do have to calibrate the temperature clamps, but get a good brand temperature clamp, because sometimes they could be off and it'll throw you off. So just be mindful of that. So let's see where we're at. Right now we are at 57, right? Okay. And it's not changing, so it seems like we're at 50. Yep, it's going to be 57. So let's put 57 here. So 57 minus 34, what is that? I'm bad at math right now. So is that 23? 23 superheat. So now that I introduced more air into the system, my superheat did go up. And it's at 23 degrees. So, am I happy with that? Not really. It should be a lot lower. Let me see. Let's see if you are supposed to wait a little bit. Okay. So you see, this is why you wait a little bit, because we did fix the airflow issue. So now if you look, now I'm at a 40-degree evaporator temperature. Okay, so let's take that back. I take that back. 40 degrees. So that's why you gotta wait, because we did fix the airflow issue, right? So the TXV is adjusting. It's opening up more because it's like, whoa, there's a lot more hot air coming. Give me more food. Give me more refrigerant. So we're still at 57. 57, right? Suction line temperature, 57. And then, let's see. I'm at 42. 42. 42. So 15 degrees of superheat. Am I okay with that? Yes, I can live with that. It's 8 to 14, right? 8 to 14-ish, around there. I'm okay with this. I'm good. My subcool's good. My superheat is good. My evaporator temperature, it makes sense because now I'm introducing more warm air. Remember when I had low airflow, it was 25 degrees? There's no air. The TXV is pinching, and it's going to be trying to do that, calculate that superheat, but the evaporator is going to be super low because you're not introducing a lot of refrigerant. So once I fix the airflow, I'm above 32 degrees evaporator temperature, 15 degrees superheat. My suction line is 57 degrees. This I'm happy with. My subcool, I'm happy with too. Another little test, and you don't have to have you don't need to get a temperature gun. I mean, I've had this for years, but this one comes with a little thermocouple where you can get the temperature, but you can also get your delta T. What is it right here? We have it's 78, and technically it's better to get probes, because probes help out. It's more accurate, but it's just to kind of give you an example. So 78 and 62. So let me see. So my delta T, 78 minus 62. What is that? 16? 16 degrees so my delta T is 16 degrees. I mean, I can live with that. You want 18 to 21. 18 to 21 delta T. I mean, my subcool, you could technically push it up to 10. And this might drop a little bit, but honestly, it doesn't really make a difference because I do have 8 degrees of subcool. The unit's already engineered for it to work like that. It is kind of warm. It is 83 degrees. And obviously this is more of a controlled lab. We have heat coming from everywhere, but and you do have that open return, a little return and supply. So, but, and there goes that panel, which I'll put back later. So with the service call, just kind of doing a recap. Okay, always start off with what's easy first. Know your unit. Check airflow. You should not have a dirty condenser. Filter should be swapped. Evaporator coil should be clean. Your blower motor should be spinning pretty well. Check airflow. At least with the, before you gauge up, check airflow, have it run for 10-15 minutes. Electrical. Find out the path that the 24 volts takes to make it to your contactor coil. All the systems, residential, commercial, there's a path that 24 volts takes to make it to your contactor coil. It starts right here. Well, it starts right here with power. It comes right here. And my thermostat is blank, okay? And this is where I want you guys to really, I'm going to really break it down here. If I have 24 volts in the back between R and C, my thermostat head does not turn on, replace it. It's a bad thermostat head. Yes, make sure all the wires are on the right place. The pins in the back of the thermostat head, everything's like, it clicks. But if you have 24 volts, you plug it in. If it doesn't turn on, bad thermostat head. So now you come here, you call for cooling. Boom. Between Y and C, it should be 24 volts. And if you're not getting 24 volts between Y and C, something's going on with the wiring, or maybe the light works, but it could be a bad thermostat head. So you saw me checking 24 volts between Y and C and O and C. After that, it is important to understand, once again, the path that 24 volts takes. Once I send 24 volts to Y, the board, the 24 volts travels to this board right here, and then it comes out through my pressure switches, power in, power out, power in, power out, and then it comes back to the board, and then from that little Molex connector that I showed you, and that was the service call that we fixed. It was put on the, it was put incorrectly. Instead of it being here, it was put incorrectly, and one pin was missing. So all I had to do was put it back. Once it sends 24 volts comes back, it sends it this way, which is my blue wire, goes to my contactor coil, and that was it. That was the service call. But I am gonna say one thing: separate your issues. If it's not a low voltage issue, right? If 24 volts turns on, but your compressor doesn't turn on, then it could be a bad capacitor that's in here. There's a bad cap. If you hear it just trying to turn on, check a cap. So try to differentiate if it's a low voltage or a high voltage issue. And typically, if it's a high voltage, if it's shorted to ground or, for whatever reason, then you would check you would ohm it out, right? So you got to ask yourself, is it a power issue? Is it a high voltage or low voltage? Typically, it's not a high voltage issue because the contactor, if you got 24 volts, it's going to go through. Could the contacts be pitted? Yeah. But typically, when checking components that are high voltage, you're going to do it with the power off, check the compressor, ohm it out. But I would only do that if my breaker tripped or my fuses went bad because it pulled too much amps. I'm not going to do that right away. You're going to do what's easy first. So that's why thermostat, make sure you're getting 24 volts between Y and C. And in this case, it's a heat pump, O and C. Make sure take note of the path that 24 volts takes. And it's a little bit different, but most systems, they go through your pressure switches, it comes back, and then it comes that way to your contactor coil. Once that's done, then you're done with the low voltage stuff. Because conventional systems is 24 volts going to your contactor coil. If your fuse popped, then hot and common are touching somewhere, or hot is rubbing to the metal, or maybe the contactor coil load is bad. But once you figure out the low voltage, okay, my compressor's not turning on. Okay, maybe it's on thermal overload. Maybe I'm low on refrigerant. But you wouldn't even get the compressor to turn on first if you're low on refrigerant because my pressure switch would be open. 24 volts will never make it back. And that's the thing. A lot of systems don't have pressure switches, so it could still be off of thermal overload. It could be really hot. You would have to check, the refrigerant level, check your capacitor. You got your indoor motor and your outdoor fan motor, your condenser. You can ohm it out, right? But I'm only gonna start ohming out these components that take high voltage if it tripped the breaker or a fuse went bad. I'm not gonna right away start. Let me ohm it out right away. It's the compressor. I can make an easy $2,000. No, it's not about that. The compressor might be just fine. It might be just low on charge, or it could be a bad cab. So I'm not gonna be checking that right away. I'm gonna check it if a breaker tripped or the fuses went bad. But in this case, we didn't have that case, and I didn't smell anything. You use your senses. In this case, the low voltage was not making it back to the contactor coil. And I would say this: try to come up with an acronym. I know for heating, I use TIP big FB, thermostat, inducer, pressure switch, my board, which are my safeties. What is it? TIP big ignition, which is my hot surface igniter, gas valve, FB, flame rectification, and then your blower motor, TIP big FB. For this, it might be a different acronym. The one that I've come up with, and I'm trying to come up with another one, is TAG, TAG. Thermostat for T, A for airflow, and then G for gauging up. The only thing is that the T, thermostat, well, there's more to just the thermostat. We got to find out what's stopping 24 volts from going to the contactor coil, right? And I have videos on that that show the path that 24 volts takes and how to use your meter. So let me know if if you want to start seeing more videos like these. I can have the students break down like more stuff, give me more service calls, and you can see, the approach at least that I take. Always start off with the easy things, with the control side, with the 24 volt side. Of course, if you smell something that's burned, your fuse or your breaker tripped, your low voltage might be okay. It might be a compressor, a high voltage load that pulled too much amps, or something that's grounded. But always start off easy, right? Understand the path that 24 volts takes to make it back to the contactor coil. And then isolate. Okay, it's not a low voltage issue. It's not turning on. Let me check pressures. Let me check airflow. Make sure you greet the customer. And in time, you're gonna get more and more experience. So I hope that today's video helped you out in some way, and I'll catch you on the next one.